Hello, everyone, and welcome to this introductory recording on the music score. First of all, let me just tell you that you may hear some dogs barking and sirens blaring in the area, so don't worry about it. That is irrelevant. All right, because we're not in a soundproof setting. Okay, so I decided to do this video because it has been my experience that choristers, when they get the music in rehearsal, they don't really understand what is on the paper. All right, so they use the paper primarily to follow the words of the music. But there's so much more going on there, and you should be able to understand some of it. Okay, so that is the purpose of this video. It's really an introduction. Okay, now the first thing you have to understand at the beginning is that music is a language. It is just like books. All right, so you have authors who have ideas and they write down their ideas in books in books. All right, and they use words to write. Okay, and music is similar to that. So you have composers who have ideas that they want to get across to an audience. But first, they have to be able to write it down so that musicians will be able to interpret the ideas. Okay, so music is a language. Okay, now what we're going to do now is go through the symbols of the language. So in English, you have words. Those are the symbols of written language, are words. All right, and each word has its own meaning. In music, the symbols are different. All right, they are symbols just as words are. They are symbols, and they are designed to get the ideas across to the audience, like I said before. All right, so let us begin with the basics. Here we go. Okay, so this will look familiar to you. This is Psalm 23, which is what we are currently working on in Ascension. And I just want to give you just a brief introduction on this. All right. First of all, at the top of the score, we're going to just look at the top for now. Okay. At the top of the score, it tells you something about the music. All right. First of all, in the middle here, it says Psalm 23. So you know that the music is about Psalm 23, and the subtitle is A Psalm of Hope. All right. Above that, we have a dedication dedicated to Mary McKay, Director of Traditional Worship, University United Methodist Church. Over 25 years of love and dedication to the music industry. Okay, so this is just a little introduction to the music. Tells you what the music was written for. At the bottom of the subtitle, you have for SATB and piano with optional instrumental accompaniment. Duration approximately 4 minutes 15 seconds. All right, now SATB means soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Okay, so the music is written for 4 voices, and the accompaniment on the score is for piano. All right, there is additional accompaniment for other instruments. Okay. Now, at the bottom here, it tells you words and music by Heather Sorensen based on Psalm 23. It's based on Psalm 23, so it's not the exact wording of the Psalm. All right, it uses parts of the Psalm to, like I said, Heather Sorensen she had ideas and she wanted to write something based on Psalm 23. So this is what she wrote. All right, so in any music score, you would see something like this at the top. And it's a lot of information. It's information designed to tell you something about what is to follow in the music. All right, so what we are going to do now is go through the score itself. No, not this score. We're going to try and interpret all of this here, all of these symbols here. We're going to look at them one by one before we get back to the score. All right, so first of all, let us look at this. Now, this is a timeline. It starts from t equal to 0. This is where it starts, 0 time. and it goes from left to right as the clock is ticking in that direction. And what this tells you is that you read your music in this direction, left to right. And also when you run out of space here, of course, you go down. So it's left to right and top to bottom. It's just like in any book, any English book, right? Or French book. There are languages where you don't read from left to right, but we're not considering that. This is Western music. All right, so this is the timeline. You have to understand this is one of the basic symbols. Let's go on now to these symbols here now, beats. This is a symbol for a percussive beat, and a percussive beat would be like this. Right? So each one of these symbols here represents one of these. So you have 4 beats. So this is the timeline here. So the first beat is here, goes on to the second beat, the third beat, the fourth beat. So that is interpreted as like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, those are percussive beats. Now there are other symbols for percussive beats, but for now we will just be looking at this symbol. Now, the other type of beat you'll come across on this score is the melodic beat. Now this one is much more familiar to you. All right, the melodic beat. Again, these are 4 beats. I don't have the timeline here, but I'm assuming that the timeline is going across like this. All right, so this is the melodic beat, and the melodic beat would sound like this. Okay, so that is an example of 4 melodic beats. This is also an example of 4 melodic beats. Now we realize that the pitch is different. Right, now what you have to realize is that the difference between the melodic beat and the percussive beat is that the melodic beat has what is called pitch, right? And pitch is how high or how low the beat is, the note is, right? So that is high pitch. This is a little lower. This is even lower. All right, so melodic beats have pitch, and they also have what is called duration, right? So they last longer. So, right, so you can hear the beat going on, as opposed to that, the percussive beat, which doesn't have much duration. It has duration, but it's very short. And believe it or not, it also has pitch, but it's very hard to determine the pitch up. That goes on into the science of song. We wouldn't get into that for now. All right. So there you go. Now you have these percussive beats and you have melodic beats. Okay. Now the third symbol, which we're going through symbols by the way, and then we're going to put all these symbols together. All right. The staff and bar lines. Now here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 timelines, right? We're from left to right, so 5 lines, and in between the lines you have 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? There's also, that is what defines what is called a staff. There's also a space on the top here, there's also a space on the bottom here, and you can also add lines on the bottom as well, or on the top as well, but we'll look at that in a little while. All right, so this, all you have to know for now is that this is called a staff. Okay, this is the third symbol that we'll be looking at, the staff. And the staff is often sectionized by bar lines. All right, and you'll see why in a little while. You'll see exactly why the staff is split up into sections. All right, a bar line will look, this is the standard bar line. So here you have the staff again, and this is like a standard bar line. There are all different types of bar lines, all of these here, and we wouldn't get into these in detail now. For now, this one is the one you're looking at, the standard bar line. Okay, so far we have timeline, we have beats, and we have the staff. Now, The next symbol that you have to look at is what is called a clef. Now, there are 3 clefs that are used nowadays. This goes back into a little history. Anyway, you have the treble clef or the G clef, right? It starts here, it goes around, goes up, and comes back down here. Then you have the bass clef, starts here, just goes around like that, and you have 2 dots. Bass clef is also called the F clef. And then you have this clef, which is the alto or tenor clef, and it's also called the C clef. It looks sort of like a B, right? Although it's a C clef, you'll understand why it's a C clef in a while. So it's a thick line, a thin line, and then it goes like that. All right, now this clef is very rare, and it's normally used for orchestras, different instruments in orchestras. And that's another story, but the ones that we are looking at now is just these 2, the treble clef and the bass clef. Okay, moving along now, what we're going to do is combine all of this now. So here you have the staff, right? You have the treble clef, you have the bass clef, and you have percussive beats going up like that, right? And this is what is this combination of symbols is what is used to write music, Western music. Okay, there are all different types of methods of writing music, but this one is sort of like the most popular one, because Western music itself is very popular. Western music, and I say Western music, I mean music coming out of Europe. All right, initially Europe. Okay, and this is the system that was developed there. So what we have here, again, is the treble clef, the bass clef combined. This is a bracket here, the staff, of course, and you have notes, up like that. Okay, what you should note here is that this note here, this symbol here, is this little dash here joins the bass staff to the treble staff. All right, and this note is called middle C for obvious reasons. It's in the middle of the 2 staffs. All right, so if you imagine an imaginary line going between the 2, right, like a 6th line going in the middle here, this little line here will represent that line. All right, so you're going from space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, going up like that. Right, and this, as I said, this is the foundation of written music, Western music. Okay, so let's go on to this one. Now here we have beats and bars. So here we have the treble clef. Everything here is the treble staff, right? Treble staff, treble staff. Now I'm using this to demonstrate why we use bar lines. There are some symbols here that we haven't met yet. This is one, this is called the time signature. This is one, this is called a rest. This is one, this is called a minim note, and this is another one that's called a half beat or crotchet notes, right? But we will look at that in a while. What I want you to observe here is why the staff is sectionized, right? So each one of these notes represents a beat, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So each bar represents 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And this symbol here tells you how many beats there are to the bar. We'll look at this in a little while. The time signature. It's called a time signature and tells you how many beats there are to each bar in the music. Now, this, once you define this at the start of the music, it stays that way right through. You don't have to keep repeating it. You just put it once, And the musician will know that every bar after that, following that, has 4 beats in it, right? This one here has 3 beats to every bar. So we have 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bars, 4 bars, okay? And in each bar, there are 3 beats. So the first bar, 1, 2, 3. The second bar, you have this minimum beat here, which signifies 2 beats with 2 beats duration, let me put it that way. So like 1, 2, 3. Right? So the first bar is 1, 2, 3. The second bar is 1, 2, 3. Right? The third bar is again 1, 2, 3. And the fourth bar is 1, 2, 3. And that is because these are rests, and the rest indicates that there's no sound. Very important. All right, so the 4 beats to the bar up here, let's just do that over. We're just doing the rhythm, we're not doing the actual pitch yet. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, the second one will be 3 beats to the bar. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because you have rest. And then the last one, 2 beats to the bar. Now, this here is actually a half of a beat. And you know it's half of a beat because you have this little bar, there's a little tail on the top here. All right, and the first 2 notes, first 2 half beats are joined at the top. Similarly here, they are joined at the top. Joined, 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 and then you have the normal 2 beats here. All right, so let's just beat this out. So okay, so there are 2 beats to the bar, but the notes are half beat, so it sounds like this: 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? Let's do that again. I know that's a little bit confusing. Remember that there are 2 beats to the bar, so each bar will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But the notes are given are half beats. So that is why you get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right? So that is the rule. The rule here is that once you signify by the time signature how many beats there are to each bar, then that stays right through the music. Now, it's possible for you to change this right in the middle of the score. You can change the timing from 4/4 to 3/4 in the middle of the music if you want to, or 4/4 to 2/4, whatever it is, right? But the rule is once it's set, it keeps that timing right to the end of the music score, unless it's changed in the middle. Okay, so those are beats and bars. All right, so there are no bars here. Okay, here you have the bars, right? And let's look at now the time signature. Let's look at the time signatures a little bit closer. All right, so here we have 4/4. Now the top number tells you the number of beats. The bottom number tells you what kind of beat. All right, what kind of beat. So 4/4 tells you that there are 4 beats to the bar, and the symbol that is used for 1 beat is called a crotchet. All right, we will look at what the crotchet is. Actually, we have seen the crotchet. The crotchet is actually this. This is called a crotchet. All right, and this is called a minim. Okay, so this tells you that there are 4 crotchet beats to the bar, and another symbol for 4/4 is this little C here. Okay, this tells you that there are 2 beats to the bar, and the type of beat, the symbol that is used to represent 1 beat, is a minim, right? 2 means a minim, 4 means a crotchet, 2 means a minim. Okay, and don't forget the minim is not that. The minim is this. Okay, right. Okay, let's go back to the time signature here. Right, the other time signatures, common ones are like this. 3/4, which is 3 beats to the bar. We saw that before. All right, 3 crotchet beats, so that'll be 1, 2, 3. This one here would be 2 crotchet beats to the bar. 1, 2. All right, and then you have some real complicated ones, and this is what is called a semi-quaver. Right, when you see 8, that is a half beat actually. So 6 half beats to the bar or 9 half beats to the bar. All right, don't worry with these two. You don't see these very often. You see this one pretty often. All right, but the ones that you would see more often are this one and this one. All right, and then after these two, probably this one. All right. Okay, so the other symbol for tutu is the same C but a cross. It's also called march time. This is also called march time. So, all right, so march time would be left, right, left, right, left, right. When you march it, left, right. That's also called march time. Okay, slightly different to 4/4. Okay, so let's now look. That's the key signature. This will explain the different sorts of symbols that you will be using to represent beats. So this is the one that we saw just now, the crotchet beat or 1 beat. This one is the minim or 2 beats. This one is called a semi-breve or hold on, and will be 4 beats. You hold it out for these number of beats. This is the half beat. Remember I told you that there was a little tail, and this is the semi-quaver or quarter beat, right? We have 2 tails to represent the semi-quaver. It's really a quarter beat. Okay, now if you listen to that, so a crotchet would be, that would be a crotchet. Right, let me just change the volume a little bit. Right, that is the crotchet, 1 beat. The minim will be off. 1, 2, off. 2 beats. The semi-breve will be 4 beats long. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. Right? And the half beat, the quaver, if that is a beat, then the half beat would be, right? 2 half beats would make 1 beat. 1 beat, 1, 2, right? And the quarter beat would be representing 1 beat. If this is 1 beat, 1, then the quarter beat would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, for the same length of time as a 1 beat. All right, and moving along, you also have the same sort of scenario for rests. All right, so if you have a crotchet, there's a crotchet rest, symbol for crotchet rest. Right, so this is the symbol for a crotchet rest, 1 beat. This is the symbol for 2 beats rest. A rest, remember, is no sound. You're literally taking a rest. Okay, so the 2 beat rest or the minim rest will be 1 to the 3rd line from the bottom. There's a little shaded rectangle on top of the 3rd line. The 4 beat rest, the semi-breve rest, it will be on the 4th line, sorry, hanging from the 4th line, the same little solid rectangle. All right, and then you have the half beat rest and the quarter beat rest. Nice. Now, this symbol here is, I don't want to get into this too much now, but this is called the key signature. Right, and you would see this right after the clef. The key signature follows, and then the time signature follows. Right. So the key signature tells you what key the music is being played in. All right. How do I explain that? So, for example, C major. There are no sharps, so this symbol is called a sharp, by the way. A sharp, there are no sharps or flats. No, this symbol is called a flat. I'll explain it in a while. Nothing here. There's no key signature. So this is C major. And C major sounds like that is C major. Right? So that tells you the key signature tells you the key in which the music is being played or sung in. Right? G major sounds a little different. Right? That is G major. D major will be okay, and on and on and on and on. A major, A minor. That tells you the key signature tells you the key in which the music is being played. Don't worry about that for now. That is a little involved. Let me put it that way. And I will explain that in more detail later on. The key signature. Just suffice it for now to know that the key signature is placed just after the clef symbol. Okay. Right now, let's look at this now. Now we saw here, not here, here, right, that the notes are placed on the staff going up and down. But what do these notes really signify? They actually signify pitch. And pitch is how high or how low a note is. Okay? So in Western music, we have 5 letters that will signify pitch. And the letters are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? And then you come back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. On the keyboard, this diagram shows a keyboard and the different symbols for the different pitches. Now, middle C, remember we saw middle C, is this note here. And that sounds like this. Right? So that is the pitch of middle C. And that means that every time you see this line here with a note on it, this is the note that is played. And similarly for all the other lines and spaces on the clef, going from the low notes on the bass clef right to the high notes on the treble clef. So if you start on middle C, so let's look at the treble clef now. You start on middle C, okay, and you go C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, 7, 6, 7. And then you come back to C. Okay, so the C here and the C here have the same symbol and they sound alike, except that one is a higher pitch than the other one. Okay, so middle C is this, and that C up there is this. All right, so you hear that they sound the same. It's the same. It's not the same note, but it sounds the same way. And the low C is this. Again, it sounds the same. That will be this C here. You see here. Right? So all C's sound the same, all D's sound the same, all E's sound the same, but the pitch is different. All right. Now the distance between one C and the other C, or one note and the similar note, is called an octave. So the difference between this C and this C is called an octave. Well, let's not get into that yet. All right. So what you have to note here is that the symbols actually designate pitch. Right. So here, this is C. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So you have 3 C's here, 1 C, 2 C's, 3 C's. And if I play that, it sounds like this. C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, middle C. All right, and that is how the music score is used to document music, document pitches using this notation. Remember again, this is Western music, right? Okay, so finally, let's look at the keyboard a little bit. Right, this is the same thing as we. So here, right, this is the keyboard here, right? But in a little more detail, the letters always represent the white notes on the keyboard, right? See? Okay, so that was C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Actually, I normally start on C, but I don't know why. But you can start on E. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Now the black notes on the keyboard are symbolized, are designated by these little symbols here, which are called sharps. This one is called a sharp, sort of a hash symbol, and this one is called a flat, and it's like a little B, a common B, right? So this black note is C sharp. Sharp means that you go up, flat means that you go down, right? So C sharp will give you this black note, D flat will give you the same black note, the same note. Similarly here you have D sharp gives you this note, E flat gives you this note. All right, so E flat and D sharp are the same note. Two different symbols, but the same note. Okay, now you go from E to F. There's an explanation for this. Again, I wouldn't go through that now, but this is E, F, this is F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, and then B and then C. All right, so you have to take note of that. This is a so this is another symbol, the sharp and the flat, and these are the symbols that I use in the key signature. Okay, so let's combine all of this now and go back to the music score. All right, so here you will be able to understand this a little better now. So let's move on from the top of the score, which is all the English writing and description of the music that is to follow. Bam, into the music score now. So let's look at this. First of all, you have the treble. Oh, I forgot to tell you that the treble clef, which is also called the G clef, it's called the G clef because this note here is the note G. This is not this note, this line here symbolizes G. Right? So go back here, sorry. So go back here. Right? C, D, E, F, G. The second line from the bottom is G. And that is because, and this is called the G clef because it starts off on that line and goes up and down. This one is called the F clef. The bass clef is called the F clef because the two dots are the top and the bottom of the fourth line from the bottom, the second line from the top. And this is the note F, right? That is this note here. All right, so this is F. This is C, D, E, F. So that is why this is called an F clef or a bass clef. Right, forgot to tell you that. Right, now let's go ahead with this. So you have the treble clef and the bass clef. All right, this is for the piano. It says piano here and there's a bracket here, which means the treble clef is normally played with the right hand for the pianist and the bass clef with the left hand. All right, so you know that this is a particular key. Okay, the key in this case is E major. All right, I didn't tell you how I got that. Figure that out. Right, this key is in E major. And after the key signature, the time signature, sorry, wow. After the time signature, you have after the key signature, you have the time signature that follows right after the key signature. All right, so that is the order. You have the clef symbol, you have the key signature, then you have the time signature. All of these are placed on this staff. All right, so this tells you that there are 4 beats to every bar. These are the bar lines. Because the bar lines run from the top of the staff, the bottom of the bass staff. right? These are all bar lines. Okay, bar lines, bar lines, bar lines. Each of these bars, there are 4 beats. If you look at the bass stuff, right? So you have a minim here, which is 2 beats, remember. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Going on like that. And here you have a lot of half notes or quavers. All right, so you have a quiver rest to start. So this is half plus a half here. This is a note. Half and a half, that's 1. This is 2. This will be 3. And this will be 4. All right, so they are half notes, so they go dun 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 dun. All right. Again, this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. 4 by 2 is 8. You have 8 half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so for every bar, there are 4 beats. Split up into any way you wanted to. If we look at this coming down here, okay, where the singers start to come in now. All right, so first you have the piano. Piano starts it off. All right, so you have minims. Here you have a semi-breve and another semi-breve. All right, and now here is where the voices come in. Soprano and alto on the treble clef, tenor and bass on the bass clef, or the bass staff, treble staff, bass staff. All right. This little number here tells you is a bar number, and that tells you that this bar is the 9th bar in this course so far. All right, so let's count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, so this tells you which bar you're in, and you use that to in rehearsal. We tell you go back to bar 9 or go back to bar 10. It doesn't. The score, all the bars in the score are not numbered, right? Some of them are numbered, not all. Okay, so now, here you have, this is an interesting one. Here you have a semi-breve rest, so 4 beats rest, so the voices don't sing anything here. Then you have 2 and 1, 3 beats rest before the singers come in this case, the sopranos and the altos, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The Lord is my shepherd, right? And the rhythm here is right? And I shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Half beat rest, I shall not want. Half beat rest, I shall not want. Half beat rest, the Lord is my shepherd, and shall not want. Half beat rest, I shall not want for more to rest. How could I ask for more? 4 beats, you hold that out for 4 plus 2, and then you come off 2 beats rest, right? Wow, I wonder if you're lost yet. I don't think so. Okay, so there you have the score. Well, some of the elements of the score. Okay, if you continue, remember this is the tenor and the bass. This is the soprano and the alto up here. You continue, so it starts off with the ladies until you reach more. And in this bar here, you see the ladies split into soprano and alto. The soprano is normally the higher one, and the alto is the lower one. Okay, if I play that, how could I ask for more? Would be how could I ask for more? All right, and the alto part would be okay, so it sounds different. Remember that each note, each symbol here represents a pitch on the keyboard or on your voice. All right, so the ladies sing here. Now here is where the men come in. Okay, so he, ladies singing here as well, men come in with he, and then everybody singing here, alto and soprano up here, tenor and bass singing down here. He leads by still water. Rest, both of them rest at the same point, and they sing, I shall not want rest, I shall not want. Okay? He leads by still waters. I shall not want for more. Only the ladies sing here by themselves, no men. And then how could everybody sing in here? Tenor, alto, soprano, and bass. Oh, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Okay. How could I ask for more? So everybody. And here the bass actually splits into baritone, which is the higher bass voice, and the low bass voice here. All right. Okay. So there are so many other symbols that we haven't touched, but I have to stop here because I go on longer, you will probably get more confused. Okay. So we'll stop here. For example, look at these symbols. This will be a crescendo mark. This is all of these are dynamic symbols, right? MF means moderately loud. This is a crescendo, so you're going from soft to loud. All right. This div here means that it divides, right? All sorts of different. You have these little marks here, which are ties. They are called ties. When this note is tied to this note, so you hold this for 4 beats, and you keep holding this for 2 beats, right? That's what the tie does. All right. So many more symbols that we have, but in rehearsal, you will go through each one as they come up. Or I could always do another video in a little more detail. Okay, so I will stop there. Thank you very much for listening to this. Remember that this is a video, so you could always rewind it if you don't understand something. Or, of course, you can always give me a call, but try and not do that now. Okay. All right, so I will see you at the next rehearsal.